The text came in at 8:47 a.m. on graduation day. I was in my dorm room adjusting my cap, my roommate Sarah helping me with the tassel, both of us giddy and nervous about walking across that stage in 2 hours. I'd laid out my outfit the night before. Black dress, simple heels, the honor cords I'd earned for my GPA draped over the back of my desk chair. My diploma cover was sitting on my bed, still wrapped in plastic. I'd been awake since 6, too excited to sleep. This was it. 4 years of brutal work, of late nights and early mornings, of sacrificing my social life for my future. And it was finally here. My phone buzzed. Mom. I smiled, thinking she was calling to say they were on the road, that they'd see me soon. I opened the message. Sweetie, I'm so sorry, but we're not going to make it. Kyle's team made it to the championship game, and it's at the same time as your ceremony. We can't miss it. So proud of you, though. Send pics. I read it twice. Then a third time. Sat down on my bed, still holding my phone, the smile fading from my face. Sarah looked at me. What's wrong? Her own parents were already in town, had taken us out to dinner last night. I showed her the text. She stared at it, her face going from confused to angry. Are you fucking kidding me? She finally said. No, I thought. They're not kidding. This is exactly who they've always been. I'd just been stupid enough to hope this time would be different. 7 years later, my father called asking if we could meet for coffee. He sounded nervous, which was unusual. My dad didn't do nervous. We met at a Starbucks halfway between their house and my apartment. He ordered a black coffee. I got an iced latte. We sat down, and he spent 5 minutes asking about my job, my apartment, the weather. Finally, he said, Your mother and I need to ask you something. We're in a bit of a financial bind. Medical bills from her surgery. The roof needs replacing. Kyle needs help with his rent. We need about $10,000. We'll pay you back. We just need help right now. I took a sip of my latte. Let the silence sit. Then I said, No. He looked surprised, like he'd expected this to be easy. What do you mean, no? I mean, I'm not giving you $10,000. We're family, he said. You're doing well. We need help. I looked at him. Really looked. You skipped my college graduation for Kyle's baseball game, remember that? Let me take you back, because this story isn't about $10,000. It's about being the child your parents forgot to show up for, and learning that you don't owe people who were never there for you. If you've ever come second to a sibling's hobby, if you've ever achieved something huge only to celebrate alone, if you've ever been asked for money by people who couldn't be bothered to show up for your milestones, this story is for you. Kyle was 3 years younger than me. Growing up, he was the athlete, the star, the one with potential. I was the smart one, the responsible one, the one who didn't require much attention. Kyle played baseball from age 6, Little League first, then travel teams by age 9, then select teams that required tryouts and fees we couldn't really afford. High school varsity by freshman year, summer leagues that ran from June through August. My parents' entire lives revolved around his schedule. Practices 3 times a week, sometimes 4 during tournament season. Games every weekend, often doubleheaders on Saturdays. Tournaments that required hotel stays, time off work, driving 3 or 4 hours each way. They kept a calendar on the fridge marked with his games in red marker. They never missed a game. Not one. Not in 12 years of him playing baseball. I played clarinet in the school band. Started in 6th grade, made first chair by 8th grade. Practiced every day after school for an hour, sometimes more before competitions. Had concerts twice a semester, spring and winter, plus the occasional special performance. My parents made it to maybe half of them. There was always a conflict. Kyle had a game. Kyle had practice that ran late. Kyle needed to be driven somewhere, and someone had to take him, and someone had to watch him, and they couldn't split up because they both wanted to see him play. I learned to look out into the audience during my solos and not expect to see them. Learned to tell them it was fine when they apologized the next day, often distracted, already thinking about Kyle's next game. Learned that Kyle's potential was more important than my achievements. That watching him hit a baseball mattered more than hearing me play music I'd worked months to perfect. High school made it worse. I was in honors classes, debate team, National Honor Society. Kyle was varsity baseball, batting cleanup, getting scouted by college coaches. Dinner conversations were about his stats, his performance, his future. Nobody asked about my debate tournament where I'd placed second in the state. Nobody noticed when I got accepted to the governor's school for the summer. They noticed when Kyle got invited to a showcase in front of D1 scouts. College applications came around my senior year. I didn't offer to help with costs but said they were proud. Kyle was a junior then, already being recruited by several schools. My acceptance letter got mentioned once at dinner. Kyle's recruiting visits were discussed nightly for months. I worked all through college, 2 part-time jobs, sometimes 3 during summer. Paid my own rent, bought my own food, covered my books and supplies. My parents would ask how school was going during our monthly phone calls. They'd update me on Kyle's season for 20 minutes. He'd signed with a D2 school in California. Full ride. They were so excited. I was graduating summa cum laude with a degree in computer science and a job offer from a tech company in Austin starting at $65,000 a year. They said that was nice. Then asked if I'd be able to come home for Kyle's signing ceremony. Senior year spring semester was brutal. I was taking 18 credits, working 25 hours a week, finishing my capstone project, and interviewing for jobs. I barely slept. Lived on coffee and granola bars. But I was almost done. 4 years of busting my ass and I'd walk across that stage with honors and a job waiting. I sent my parents the graduation details in January. Date, time, location. Asked them to book a hotel early since it was graduation weekend and places filled up. They said they would. March came. Kyle's team was having a good season, winning games, climbing rankings. My mother would text me updates after his games. Kyle went 3 for 4 tonight. 2 RBIs. I'd respond with a thumbs up emoji. She never asked about my classes or my job search. April came. Kyle's team made the conference tournament. My mother called. Kyle's tournament is the same weekend as your graduation. If they keep winning, the championship game might be at the same time as your ceremony. But they probably won't make it that far. We'll be there for you. I felt something cold in my stomach but said okay. May arrived. 2 weeks before graduation, Kyle's team won their way to the championship game, scheduled for 11 a.m. on Saturday, May 14th. My graduation was at 10 a.m. on Saturday, May 14th. 3 hours apart. The ceremony would last about 2.5 hours. They could make both if they tried. If they left right after I walked. If they cared enough to try. The text came graduation morning. Not a phone call. A text. Not going to make it. Kyle's championship game. So proud of you. Send pics. I showed Sarah. She called them selfish assholes. Offered to have her parents take photos with me like I was part of their family. I said no. I didn't want pity photos. I wanted my own parents to show up for me. Just once. Just this once. I walked across that stage alone. No family in the audience. Sarah's parents cheered for me because they were kind. I smiled for the camera. Took photos with friends afterward. Posted one on Facebook with my diploma. My mother commented 3 hours later. So proud. Wish we could have been there. Kyle's team won the championship. with a baseball emoji. I stared at that comment for a long time. Then I deleted Facebook from my phone. I moved to Austin 2 weeks later for my job. Didn't tell my parents much about it. They didn't ask. They were busy celebrating Kyle's baseball achievements and planning his move to California for college. I texted them my new address. They said great. Asked if I'd be coming home for the 4th of July. Kyle would be home before leaving for school. It would be nice to all be together. I said I had to work. I didn't have to work. I just didn't want to be there. Austin was good for me. The job was challenging but rewarding. I made friends. Built a life. Saved money. Got promoted within a year. Then again. By 25, I was making 6 figures. Bought a condo. Invested. Built wealth. My parents would call occasionally. Always about Kyle. His season, his performance, his struggles adjusting to college life. They'd ask how I was in the same tone you'd ask a cashier. Good, I'd say. Work is good. That's nice. So Kyle has been struggling with his batting average. And off they'd go. Kyle played 2 years of college baseball, then quit. Said it wasn't fun anymore. The pressure was too much. Coaches were too hard. He lost his scholarship, moved back home, started working at a sporting goods store. My parents were devastated. Their golden boy had given up his future. They didn't mention that I'd built a successful career in tech, that I'd been promoted to senior developer, that I was doing exactly what I'd planned. Years passed. I visited home once a year for Christmas, stayed 2 days, kept conversations surface level. Kyle was still figuring himself out, working retail, living at home, dating someone new every few months. He was 25 and directionless. I was 28 and thriving. Nobody seemed to notice the contrast, or if they did, nobody mentioned it. Then my mother got sick. Needed surgery. Nothing life-threatening, but serious. I sent flowers to the hospital, called to check in. They said the surgery went well, but bills were piling up. Insurance covered most of it, but there was still $10,000 in costs. They were figuring it out. I said that was good. Didn't offer money. They didn't ask. Yet. The roof thing happened 6 months later. Old house, old roof. Started leaking. Needed full replacement. $15,000. They were getting quotes, talking to contractors. My father mentioned it on a phone call. I said that sounded stressful. Again, didn't offer money. But I could feel the ask coming. The reason for suddenly staying in touch more, the extra phone calls. The questions about my job and my income. Kyle asked first. Called me out of nowhere. Hey sis, long time no talk. We'd never called each other sis or bro. How's it going? He wanted something. Fine. You? Yeah, good. Listen, Mom and Dad are really stressed about money. The medical bills and the roof, and I need help with rent. I was thinking maybe you could help them out? You're doing pretty well, right? There it was. Not even from them. From Kyle, who'd gotten everything handed to him his whole life and squandered it. How much rent help do you need? I asked. Like $600 a month. Just until I get a better job. You're 25, I said. You've been working retail for 3 years. When's the better job coming? The market is tough, he said. Defensive now. I'm trying. Are you? I asked. Because from where I'm sitting, you quit baseball, moved home, and coasted. That's not trying. That's giving up. Not everyone can be perfect like you, he snapped. I'm not perfect, I said. I just work hard. You should try it. He hung up. My father called a week later. The coffee invitation. I knew what was coming, but I went anyway. Wanted to hear him ask. Wanted to see if he'd even acknowledge the irony. He asked for $10,000. For all of it. Medical bills, roof, Kyle's rent. I said no. He said they were family. I brought up graduation. That was 7 years ago, he said. We apologized. You texted me an apology, I corrected. While you were at Kyle's game. You couldn't even call. It was a championship, he said. Like that explained everything. Like Kyle's baseball game was more important than my college graduation. I was graduating summa cum laude, I said. I'd worked 2 jobs for 4 years. I'd earned a degree and a job. And you chose a baseball game. Kyle needed us, he said. For what? To watch him play a game? I needed you too. I needed my parents at my graduation. Other kids had their whole families there. I had nobody. You had your friends, he said. I stared at him. That's your defense? That I had friends, so I didn't need family? He shifted in his seat, uncomfortable now. We did our best. Kyle required more attention. Kyle required more attention because you gave it to him. You created a kid who can't function without someone holding his hand. That's not fair, my father said. He had potential. Had, I repeated. Past tense. He quit. Moved home. Works retail. Meanwhile, I'm doing exactly what I planned. Built a career. Support myself. Don't need anything from anyone. Where's my credit for that? We're proud of you, he said. Automatically. The thing parents say when they don't know what else to say. Are you? Because you've never shown it. Never came to anything important. Never asked about my life. Never celebrated my achievements. You were too busy with Kyle. We need help now, he said, getting frustrated. You can afford it. I can afford it, I agreed. But that doesn't mean I'm giving it to you. You made choices. You chose Kyle over me for 18 years. You skipped my graduation for a baseball game. You never invested in my future, but you expect me to invest in yours. That's not how this works. So you're punishing us, he said. No, I said. I'm setting a boundary. I'm not responsible for your financial problems. You're adults. Figure it out. What about Kyle? He asked. Playing the sibling card? What about him? He needs help. He's 25. He can get a better job, work more hours, get a roommate, do what I did when I was his age. I worked 2 jobs and paid my own way. He can too. He's not you, my father said. Exactly, I said. He had everything handed to him and wasted it. I had nothing handed to me and built something. The difference is accountability. I left that coffee shop and felt lighter than I had in years. My father called me selfish in a text later. My mother left a voicemail crying about being abandoned by their daughter. Kyle posted something vague on Facebook about fake family. I blocked all of them. Not out of anger. Out of completion. I was done carrying people who'd never carried me. You're listed as next of kin. We wanted to confirm their financial situation before approving aid. I paused. What kind of assistance? They're asking for help with medical bills and home repairs. About 10,000 total. We provide grants to families in crisis, but we verify need first. They have a son, I said. He lives with them rent-free. He could contribute. We spoke with Kyle. He said he's between jobs. He's been between jobs for 3 years, I said. Look, I don't know what they told you, but they're not destitute. They own their home. They have retirement savings. They're just bad with money and they raised a son who doesn't contribute. That's not a crisis. That's consequences. She was quiet. So, you won't verify need? I'll verify that they spent 18 years investing in one child and ignoring the other, that they skipped my college graduation for a baseball game, that they never helped me financially but expect me to help them. Is that the verification you need? She thanked me and hung up. I don't know if they got the church money. Don't care. What I know is that I spent 7 years building a life they never asked about. 7 years climbing in my career. 7 years investing and saving and planning. 7 years proving that the kid they ignored was worth more than the kid they worshipped. And when they finally needed something from me, when they finally saw my value, it was because they needed money. Not because they realized they'd failed me, but because they needed me to bail them out. I'm 30 now. Senior software engineer at a major tech company, make $140,000 a year, own my condo outright, have 6 months of expenses in savings, invest 15% of my income, built a life that's stable and mine. I don't talk to my parents anymore. Sometimes I see Facebook photos through mutual friends. Kyle still works retail, lives at home, posts about the good old days of high school baseball. My parents look older, tired. They never post about me because there's nothing to post. They don't know anything about my life. Do I feel guilty? Sometimes. Late at night when I can't sleep, I wonder if I should have helped, if $10,000 would have mattered to my bottom line. But then I remember sitting in my dorm room reading that text. Remember walking across that stage alone. Remember 7 years of phone calls where they talked about Kyle for 30 minutes and asked about me for 30 seconds. And the guilt fades. Because I don't owe them anything. They had 18 years to show up for me. They chose not to. Now they can live with that choice. If you've ever been the forgotten kid who made something of themselves anyway, this is for you. If you've ever been asked for money by parents who never invested in you, this is for you. If you've ever walked across a stage alone because your family had somewhere better to be, this is for you. You don't owe your success to people who ignored your journey. You don't owe financial support to parents who never supported you. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say no and walk away. Tell me in the comments, have your parents ever skipped something important for a sibling? Did you help them when they needed it? Or did you set boundaries? I read every story. And if you want more stories about people who succeeded despite being overlooked, subscribe. Sometimes the best revenge isn't anger. It's building a life so good that when they finally notice, it's too late to be part of it.